While Tucker Carlson stirs headlines with his bold takes on politics, his private life in 2025 is a far cry from the chaos of cable news. Behind the scenes, Carlson lives a surprisingly traditional and tight-knit family life. With a long-standing marriage, 4 grown children, and a quiet rural lifestyle, his world at home is both unexpected and revealing. Let's take a rare look inside the personal life of one of America's most polarizing media figures, Susan Andrews Carlson. While Tucker Carlson has built a career as one of the most outspoken and polarizing voices in American media, few know much about the woman who has stood quietly beside him through it all. Susan Andrews, Carlson's wife of over 3 decades, has remained deliberately out of the spotlight, choosing a life of discretion, family, and quiet philanthropy rather than public attention. Their enduring marriage, rooted in deep personal values and a shared history, offers a rare look into the private world of a very public man. The story of Tucker Carlson and Susan Andrews dates back to their teenage years at the prestigious St. George's School in Rhode Island. It was there that the future Fox News star met the woman who would become the most important constant in his life. Susan was not just any classmate. She was the daughter of the school's headmaster, Reverend George E. Andrews II. The young Carlson, then known more for his preppy charm than political prowess, reportedly asked permission from Susan's father to date her, a gesture of old-fashioned formality that left a lasting impression. Their relationship matured through their college years, and on August 10, 1991, the two were married in a ceremony that reflected their shared values of tradition, faith, and family. Over the decades, their bond has grown stronger, enduring not only the usual tests of marriage, but the added scrutiny and pressure of Carlson's increasingly high-profile media career. Despite her proximity to fame, Susan Andrews has long avoided the limelight. While Carlson has spent decades on television, first on CNN, then MSNBC, and eventually rising to conservative superstardom on Fox News, Susan has focused on creating a stable and private home life. Friends and colleagues say she has been Carlson's emotional anchor, offering quiet support and a steady perspective through career transitions, public controversies, and personal attacks. Susan's influence on Carlson is far deeper than many realize. She is known to be one of the few people he listens to without hesitation. Those close to the couple suggest that many of Carlson's career decisions, including leaving Fox News in 2023, were influenced by long private conversations with Susan, who values integrity, family, and peace over fame or ratings. Though she never appears on television or speaks to the press, her impact on Carlson's life is profound. The Carlsons have deliberately chosen a lifestyle that distances them from the chaos of Washington, D.C. or New York. Their primary residence is a quiet rural retreat near Bryant Pond, Maine, nestled in a region known for its natural beauty and strong sense of community. There they enjoy hiking, boating, and raising animals, with Carlson often describing the area as the real America. Their main home reflects their commitment to privacy, self-sufficiency, and a slower pace of life. They also maintain a property on Gasparilla Island in Florida, a barrier island known for its white sand beaches, seclusion, and historic charm. The estate is a place for the couple to unwind near the water, away from the media glare. Both homes are chosen not just for their beauty, but for their ability to offer seclusion from the spotlight and a space to focus on family and values. Together, Tucker and Susan are the parents of 4 children: Lily, Buckley, Hopie, and Dorothy. The family has made a conscious effort to keep their children out of public life. Susan, in particular, has worked to ensure their upbringing remained grounded and shielded from their father's public controversies. Her influence has kept the family centered, focusing on education, faith, and service. In recent years, the Carlsons have turned their attention to philanthropy, focusing primarily on education and veterans issues, 2 causes that resonate deeply with Susan's background and values. While Tucker may be the public face of their charitable efforts, Susan is deeply involved behind the scenes. organizing events, coordinating donations, and ensuring that the work reflects their values. Her quiet leadership and sense of purpose help shape the direction of their giving. For someone married to one of the most controversial figures in media, Susan Andrews has mastered the art of being present without being seen. She doesn't give interviews, write memoirs, or speak on social media. Her loyalty is private and unwavering, expressed not through press statements, but through the stability she provides at home. Carlson has spoken occasionally about the importance of his wife in interviews, often crediting her with helping him keep his feet on the ground. In moments of public scandal or career upheaval, those who know them say it's Susan's counsel he seeks first, not a producer, publicist, or political ally. Their enduring marriage is a rarity in political and media circles, where egos and ambition often outpace emotional connection. Susan Andrews represents a throwback to a quieter, steadier kind of partnership, one built not on mutual fame, but mutual respect and shared purpose. In the shadow of her husband's towering public persona, she remains the still center of the storm, unshakable, understated, and essential. Lily Carlson Tucker Carlson, and Susan Andrews' eldest daughter, born in the early 1990s, has remained largely outside of the public eye, much like her mother. While her father became one of the most recognizable and controversial media figures in America, she charted a quieter path, one that mirrors her family's values of discretion, tradition, and intellectual curiosity. Raised in a household that balanced intense media attention with strict privacy, she has carried those principles into her adult life, maintaining a low profile despite her background and the opportunities that could have brought her into the spotlight. Her early upbringing was grounded in the East Coast elite academic tradition. Like her parents, she attended St. George's School, the same prestigious Rhode Island boarding school where her father and mother met as teenagers. With its rigorous curriculum and strong emphasis on character, leadership, and community engagement, St. George's played a formative role in shaping her worldview. Those close to the family say she was known for being observant, disciplined, and thoughtful, much more comfortable leading quietly than seeking attention. The environment at St. George's, with its blend of tradition and modernity, likely reinforced the values passed down from her parents, emphasis on humility, critical thinking, and service. After graduating from high school in the early 2010s, she enrolled at the University of Virginia, UVA, one of the country's top public universities, and one long known for fostering a blend of Southern charm and academic excellence. At UVA, she is believed to have majored in communications or marketing, two fields that marry creativity and analysis, skills she would later apply in the media world. Though she kept a low profile on campus, peers and professors recall her as a focused student with a quiet intensity and a knack for clear expression, particularly in writing and presentation. It was during or shortly after her college years that she took a professional step into the media space, following, albeit from a very different angle, in her father's footsteps. Rather than pursue political commentary or cable news, she chose to work at Cheddar, a digital-first news outlet known for its coverage of business, technology, and culture aimed at a younger millennial audience. At Cheddar, she was reportedly involved in covering breaking news segments, helping to shape the real-time flow of information that defines modern journalism. Her responsibilities may have included segment coordination, research, or even on-camera reporting, although she deliberately avoided cultivating a public persona. Sources familiar with her role at Cheddar suggest she approached journalism with a quiet curiosity and a deep respect for the facts. She did not use her last name as a shortcut, nor did she attempt to leverage her father's fame. If anything, she distanced herself from it. Colleagues noted her professionalism, her strong work ethic, and her ability to adapt in fast-paced, high-pressure newsroom situations. She showed promise not as a flashy media personality, but as someone who valued accuracy and trusted storytelling. It's unclear how long she remained at Cheddar, or whether she pursued other positions in journalism, marketing, or digital content thereafter, as she has carefully avoided a public-facing career trajectory. Her professional demeanor and personal discretion seem to echo the example set by her mother, Susan, who has always favored substance over show. Just like Susan carved out a purposeful role behind the scenes of her husband's life in politics and media, their daughter appears to have built her own path with quiet confidence, engaged, competent, and under the radar. She's part of a generation navigating the digital age with both access and caution, leveraging education and media literacy to make a meaningful impact without needing to be front and center. Though the Carlson family is often discussed in political circles, their daughter has remained almost entirely absent from tabloid coverage and social media speculation. There are no verified public profiles associated with her name, and no interviews or comments tied directly to her. This level of restraint in the age of oversharing is notable and speaks volumes about the way she was raised. It's also a testament to the strength of the family's commitment to privacy, even as one of its members became a lightning rod for political and media discourse in America. Now, likely in her early 30s, Tucker and Susan's eldest daughter is part of a generation that grew up with the internet, yet doesn't seem interested in using it as a platform for personal branding. Her reported work in journalism and communication shows a sophisticated understanding of media, its reach, its flaws, and its responsibilities. While she may never seek the kind of spotlight that surrounds her father, her choices suggest a deeply thoughtful person who values meaningful work, intellectual integrity, and the kind of steady, grounded life her parents modeled from the very beginning. Buckley Carlson. Tucker Carlson's only son, Buckley Carlson, has quietly but steadily carved out a path in Republican politics, blending sharp communication instincts with a behind-the-scenes work ethic that mirrors elements of his father's early media career. Now 28 years old in 2025, Buckley is considered one of the rising young operatives in Washington, D.C., known more for his strategic thinking than for courting the spotlight. As the second child of Tucker Carlson and Susan Andrews, Buckley has balanced legacy and ambition, navigating both the doors opened by his family name and the scrutiny that comes with it. Born in the mid-1990s and raised in a household shaped by journalism, political debate, and traditional values, Buckley had early exposure to the machinery of media and influence. He attended private schools on the East Coast before enrolling at the University of Virginia, a school with deep ties to American political and intellectual history. Buckley graduated from UVA in 2019, likely majoring in political science, government, or a related field, though the family has kept many personal details guarded. While at UVA, he was known among his peers for his intellect, sharp wit, and a calm confidence that seemed beyond his years. Professors and classmates recall him as someone deeply interested in conservative political theory, American history, and the role of narrative in public discourse, interests that would inform his eventual path in political communications. Shortly after graduating, Buckley launched his political career in earnest by joining the office of Representative Jim Banks, a prominent Indiana Republican and staunch conservative voice in the House. From 2019 to 2022, Buckley rose swiftly through the ranks, beginning with entry-level communications duties and eventually becoming communications director and deputy chief of staff. In these dual roles, he oversaw messaging strategy, press relations, and helped shape the representative's legislative priorities into coherent public narratives. Colleagues noted his organizational discipline, his ability to think on his feet, and a sense of maturity unusual for someone in their early 20s. His proximity to Representative Banks, then a rising figure within the GOP, also exposed him to high-level party operations and national conservative strategy sessions. By early 2025, Buckley had taken a major step forward in his career. He was appointed Deputy Press Secretary for Vice President J.D. Vance, serving as one of the key voices shaping the Vice President's public communications during a pivotal election year. The appointment was both a reward for Buckley's proven competence and a sign of trust from the new generation of populist Republicans. Working under a figure like Vance, who blends Ivy League polish with America First nationalism, requires a nuanced understanding of both traditional Republican messaging and the new media ecosystem, something Buckley, with his media-savvy upbringing, is uniquely positioned to navigate. In May 2023, Buckley married Kelsey Kilgore, a fellow UVA alum and political peer who had worked in Senate communications and later in policy advocacy. The couple's wedding was described as intimate but well-attended by D.C. political insiders, a blend of tradition and ambition reflecting their shared trajectory. Kelsey is said to share Buckley's passion for policy, and they are often referred to as a power couple in the making within conservative circles. Their marriage symbolizes not just a personal union, but the merging of two young, like-minded political operatives who are expected to grow in influence in the coming years. Still, Buckley's ascent has not been without controversy. His rapid rise sparked accusations of nepotism, especially among media critics and political opponents who pointed to his famous last name and questioned whether his career was propelled more by connections than competence. Some painted his job appointments as evidence of the Republican Party's willingness to reward the children of its celebrity commentators. However, many prominent conservatives quickly pushed back on these claims. Figures like Jim Banks and even staffers from rival offices defended Buckley's strong work ethic, policy literacy, and media acumen. They noted that his roles were earned through performance, not privilege, and that he often worked longer hours than many of his peers. Indeed, those who've worked with Buckley describe him as methodical, loyal, and deeply committed to the conservative cause. He avoids grandstanding, prefers working behind the curtain, and has a natural instinct for crafting concise, compelling political messaging. While his surname certainly opened doors, his steady rise within Republican communications circles suggests that he's managed to convert inherited access into earned credibility. Though he has yet to run for office, some insiders believe that Buckley's future may include a move into campaign strategy, political consulting, or even elective office. With his experience under a sitting vice president and his growing list of contacts within the GOP, he's already being groomed by some as a future player in conservative politics, perhaps more measured than his father, but no less media-aware. For now, Buckley Carlson seems content operating in the background, helping shape narratives that reach millions without needing to be the face behind the words. In a party where communication is power and image is everything, he has become an influential voice, albeit a quiet one, with a growing legacy of his own. Hopie Carlson. Hopie Carlson, the third child of Tucker Carlson and Susan Andrews, has maintained a relatively private profile throughout her young adulthood, much like the rest of her family. Yet among the Carlson children, she stands out not only for her leadership and academic credentials, but also for a quiet but significant political divergence from her famously conservative father. Now in her mid-20s, Hopie represents the more nuanced, independent-minded side of the Carlson legacy, rooted in tradition, but not confined by it. Raised in the same tightly knit, tradition-focused household that produced her older siblings, Hopie spent her formative years immersed in a world that blended East Coast elite education with conservative family values. Like her parents, Hopie attended St. George's School, the prestigious boarding school in Rhode Island where Tucker and Susan had first met as teenagers. At St. George's, Hopie reportedly flourished. Described by peers and faculty as empathetic, driven, and intellectually curious, she embraced the school's emphasis on service, scholarship, and leadership. By her senior year, Hopie had earned the role of senior prefect, one of the highest student leadership positions at the school. It's a title reserved for students with strong academic records, moral integrity, and the ability to inspire others. As a prefect, she helped mediate conflicts, guide younger students, and liaise between faculty and her peers. Her leadership extended beyond governance. She was also active in athletics, participating in competitive sports that required both team collaboration and personal discipline. Hopie's engagement in interfaith chapel leadership was another marker of her openness and sense of community. St. George's, while rooted in Episcopal tradition, offers interfaith opportunities to foster understanding across religious lines. Hopie reportedly played a key role in organizing student-led discussions, services, and outreach programs, all of which revealed her interest in bridging divides and nurturing dialogue, a skill set that may have laid the groundwork for her more individualistic political identity later on. Following in her siblings' footsteps, Hopie enrolled at the University of Virginia, another family alma mater known for its rigorous liberal arts programs and long-standing history of public service and civic engagement. There, she is believed to have majored in a liberal arts field, possibly political science, history, or sociology. Her choice of major and campus activities reflected a keen interest in the world beyond her upbringing, one that welcomed exploration of different ideologies and social perspectives. UVA's intellectual environment, especially in the wake of the university's own recent political controversies, likely exposed Hopie to diverse viewpoints that she was willing to engage with, rather than resist. One of the most surprising revelations about Hopie came around the 2020 U.S. presidential election, when public records showed that she had registered as a Democrat in the state of Florida. The decision, while never publicly commented on by Hopie or her family, raised eyebrows among political observers. It marked a distinct departure from her family's ideological base, particularly her father's well-documented alignment with right-wing populism and conservative media. Some interpreted her registration as a symbolic gesture of generational independence, a young woman exercising her right to think for herself and signal her willingness to depart from the expected path. Others speculated that the move could have stemmed from her exposure to broader college discourse or a reaction to the increasingly divisive national rhetoric in which her father had become a central figure. Whether it was a deeply held conviction or an exploratory move, Hopie's registration as a Democrat quietly challenged assumptions about political homogeneity within high-profile conservative families. Despite this divergence, there is no indication of open family conflict. Those close to the Carlsons describe their family dynamic as respectful and open, with parents who have raised their children to be critical thinkers, even if they ultimately disagree. Tucker Carlson himself has spoken on occasion about the importance of robust debate and the need for young people to find their own voice. Within that context, Hopie's registration may be seen not as a rebellion, but as an expression of thoughtful independence, one rooted in the very values of intellectual rigor and courage that her family has long emphasized. Now, in her mid-20s, Hopie remains largely out of the public eye, with no public-facing social media accounts or confirmed professional affiliations. Her friends describe her as intelligent, kind, and deeply engaged in the world around her, though she seems content to do so quietly and on her own terms. Whether she pursues a career in public service, academia, nonprofit work, or another field entirely, those who know her believe she is charting a course defined not by ideology, but by a sincere desire to understand and serve. Dorothy Carlson. Dorothy Carlson, the youngest child of Tucker Carlson and Susan Andrews, has grown up under the long shadow of one of America's most visible and controversial media figures. Yet, like her siblings, she has maintained a deliberate and striking degree of privacy. Reserved but expressive, thoughtful yet independent, Dorothy has managed to balance her family's high-profile reputation with a quiet pursuit of her own identity, one shaped by elite education, personal interests in the arts, and a cautious but present curiosity about conservative politics. Born in the early 2000s and coming of age during a particularly turbulent era in American life, Dorothy attended St. George's School in Rhode Island, continuing the family tradition that began when her parents, Tucker and Susan, met there in the 1980s. The boarding school, known for its ivy-covered buildings and rigorous academic standards, served as the educational foundation for all 4 Carlson children. At St. George's, Dorothy was not only a committed student, but also an active participant in campus culture, striking a balance between leadership, introspection, and creativity. One of her most memorable moments at the school came during her senior chapel speech, a long-standing tradition at St. George's in which graduating seniors deliver personal reflections before their peers and faculty. Dorothy's speech, delivered in 2021 amid the COVID-19 pandemic, was unique in format due to health precautions. She spoke from behind a protective plastic screen, a visual reminder of the global uncertainty her generation was navigating. Despite the barriers, literal and symbolic, her words reportedly resonated with warmth and clarity. Those present recalled her tone as sincere, humble, and emotionally grounded, offering gratitude to the school community while reflecting on the resilience required during a time of social distancing, isolation, and disruption. It was a defining moment that captured Dorothy's ability to blend reflection with composure, even under challenging circumstances. Beyond academics, Dorothy was active in the school's a cappella group, the Snapdragons, where she lent her voice to performances that punctuated school events and celebrations. The Snapdragons, an all-female vocal group, are known not just for their musical skill, but for fostering a sense of sisterhood, confidence, and collaboration. Dorothy's involvement signaled a strong interest in the performing arts, and classmates recall her as a talented vocalist who contributed to the group with dedication and enthusiasm. Her love of music, especially in an ensemble setting, underscored her creative side, less visible than her family's political associations, but equally formative. After graduating in 2021, Dorothy chose to maintain a low public profile, eschewing social media fame or partisan activism for a quieter personal and academic life. While details about her college experience have not been made public, it's clear that Dorothy has been intentional in keeping her life private, avoiding the attention that often follows the children of media figures. Nevertheless, small glimpses into her interests have surfaced over time, most notably her internship at Turning Point USA, the conservative student organization known for championing free market principles, limited government, and campus activism. Her involvement with Turning Point USA, even if brief, suggests a mild but notable engagement with conservative ideas and current events, ideological themes that have long been central to her father's career. Whether this interest reflects long-term political leanings or simply a curiosity about American discourse remains unclear. What is known is that Dorothy, like each of the Carlson children, has approached her early adulthood with careful intention, exploring paths in a manner that allows her to preserve her autonomy while still dipping a toe into the public realm. Dorothy's personality, as described by those who knew her in high school, is best summed up as thoughtful, poised, and quietly discerning. While her older siblings, particularly Buckley, who is active in GOP politics, have drawn more attention, Dorothy has remained comfortably in the background, choosing to shape her own narrative without rush or spectacle. Her engagement with conservative thought, particularly through organizations like Turning Point USA, appears rooted more in intellectual curiosity than performative ideology. She has not aligned herself with any specific political movement publicly and appears to be developing her beliefs on her own timeline. As the youngest member of the Carlson family, Dorothy has also benefited from watching her siblings navigate early adulthood and career decisions, learning what to emulate and what to avoid. Her upbringing, deeply grounded in tradition and discretion, likely plays a large role in her aversion to the public spotlight. Her parents, particularly her mother Susan, have emphasized the value of privacy, humility, and real-world engagement over media attention, and Dorothy seems to have absorbed those lessons well. Now in her early 20s, Dorothy Carlson is still very much in the early stages of carving out a professional identity. Whether she ultimately pursues work in journalism, policy, communications, or the arts remains to be seen. What's evident so far is her desire to explore the world on her own terms, engaged but cautious, expressive but grounded, quietly ambitious but uninterested in spectacle. She is, in many ways, a reflection of the quieter strength that defines her family's private life, and a symbol of the next generation's complexity, rooted in legacy, yet unafraid to think independently. What do you think about Tucker Carlson's family in 2025? Leave us your comments in the section below. We hope you have found this helpful video. Don't forget to leave a like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you like it. Thank you for watching this, and see you in the next videos. Goodbye.